Alright there guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Demon Slayer Mugen Train, aka the Demon Slayer movie that was released in October of this year. So you're probably thinking, hang on a minute, you haven't seen the movie because it's only available in Japan. And yes, you would be right in thinking that. I haven't seen the movie because it's only available in Japan. But we're not actually going to be talking about the movie itself in terms of what happens in it, because obviously I don't know. Instead, we're going to be talking about the overwhelming success this movie has had over the past 2 months. Because this movie, as I've said in the title, this movie is huge. This movie is genuinely massive. So let me get into the 4 points I want to make in why this movie is massive. So we'll start off with... Oh, and all 4 of these points include how much money the movie has grossed. I don't actually know the amount specifically, but the money grossed is part of every point. So, this movie became the highest grossing anime movie of all time in terms of how much money it grossed in just 1 week. In its first week, it grossed more money than any anime movie ever has in its first week. I mean, considering this movie was literally released in Japan exclusively, that is huge, isn't it? That is massive. And not only that, normally you don't see movies you only see movies that are their own thing become this big. You don't expect a movie that's part of a franchise like Demon Slayer to be this massive. You wouldn't expect a Dragon Ball or One Piece movie to be this massive, would you? Because so much time is invested in the series of those shows. That trying to create a movie that it feels different from the show is very difficult. But I have been told by Connor last year that the Demon Slayer movie is actually how we get from season 1 to season 2. It's like that season, the movie actually leads into season 2, which... That's actually quite an interesting way of doing it, isn't it? Because we always normally, we just go from season 1 to season 2. But Demon Slayer hasn't gone that way. Instead, Demon Slayer has literally put in a movie in between seasons 1 and 2, and the movie takes us from season 1 and leads us into season 2. I think that's a very clever way of doing it, and one that we don't ever see. So, yeah, Demon Slayer, innovation. The second point I want to make is Demon Slayer is currently the 3rd highest grossing anime movie worldwide ever. Bearing in mind, this movie released 2 months ago. It's not like this movie has been out for years. This movie literally released 2 months ago. This movie is genuinely massive. In terms of such a short space of time, Demon Slayer Mugen Train has become the most successful anime movie of all time. In terms of what it's done in the amount of time it's been out. Because the highest grossing anime movie of all time worldwide and in Japan and worldwide is Spirited Away. That movie was released in 2001. Mugen Train was released this year. And it's already managed to get onto the same level as Spirited Away. The only movies that are ahead of Demon Slayer, Mugen Train in worldwide are Spirited Away and Your Name, of which I have seen both. Well, you guys would know I've seen Your Name because just over 2 years ago I covered it on this channel. Now the third point is Demon Slayer Mugen Train is the second highest grossing anime movie of all time in Japan. Yeah, third highest grossing anime movie worldwide, and the second most just in Japan. It's so crazy that it's the third highest grossing worldwide when it's only been released in Japan. Like, this movie has the potential, if it ever is able to get released in other countries, like the US and the UK, this movie definitely has the potential to become the highest grossing anime movie of all time in worldwide. It definitely has the potential to do that. Considering what it's managed to do just in Japan without anyone and it being released anywhere else. But yeah, in Japan, it's the second highest grossing anime movie of all time. And it's done that in 2 months. I keep saying that because of how crazy that is. The fact that... I mean, this movie did have a lot of hype around it because it's Demon Slayer. But no, I don't think anybody could have expected that this movie was going to be this successful. I mean, this movie, by default, due to what it's done, is the most successful anime movie of 2020. By default. No anime movie has done what this movie has done this year. And who knows, this movie could also become the #1 highest grossing movie in Japan at some point. But for now, Spirited Away still holds that record. And now, time for the final point. Demon Slayer Mugen Train is at the time of recording, is the 6th highest grossing movie worldwide of this year. How mental is that? This movie is in the top 10 highest grossing movies of the year. Now, you could say stuff like, oh, it's only because of the pandemic and so many movies have had to be delayed this year. You could say that. But you do have to remember that, again, this movie only released in one country. And it's managed to become the 6th highest grossing movie of the year. Can this movie reach the top 5 by the end of the year, which, well, isn't far away now. We're only around just over 2 weeks away from the end of the year, so it's not long. But there is a chance. I mean, when I first saw where Demon Slayer was in the rankings for highest grossing anime movies, the highest grossing movies of 2020, when I first looked at it, it was in 8th. Then it dropped to 9th when I next looked at it, and now it's moved up to 6th. Back in around a month ago, just over a month ago, I made a video about the rise of anime movies in Western cinemas, didn't I? And in that video, I talked about how My Hero Academia, Two Heroes, the first My Hero Academia movie, beat The Predator and The Nun at the box office. It actually beat them. And I talked about how anime movies can now have actually got to a point where they can hold their own against mainstream movies. Where it's no longer the mainstream where the gap between the mainstream and anime is this. Over the years, anime has slowly been bridging that gap consistently to where it's like this now. Mainstream are still ahead of anime simply because there hasn't been a single anime movie that's become the highest grossing movie of any year. But the fact that Demon Slayer has managed to get the number 6 spot, potentially number 5 before the end of the year, who knows? But even if it doesn't reach number 5 and stays number 6, it shows the point that I've said that I've been saying for 2 years now, ever since I watched the first My Hero Academia movie just over 2 years ago now. Anime movies can hold their own against the mainstream. Mainstream do not have this superiority over anime movies anymore. They just don't. The fact that there's four movies in the top 10 that are mainstream that have been beaten by Demon Slayer shows how big of an impact Demon Slayer has made with this movie. This is a perfect setup for season 2 of the show as well. That's what makes this so good, because it's a perfect setup to lead us up into season 2 after such a successful movie. All we have to hope now is season 2 does not flop, which it probably won't, but you never know. And apparently Vinland Saga season 2 will be happening next year. Should I even watch it? Should I watch it, or am I just going to make another video calling it disappointing again and get a ton of dislikes and comments telling me I don't get the story? Because you know what, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. We'll save that for the start of the year in review video, because I do want to talk about that more, but not here. This video is about Demon Slayer, not Vinland Saga. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, follow me on all my social medias. And on Friday, we will be doing... Sorry about that. On Friday, it's time for me to reveal my 2020 Game of the Year. Until then, catch you later.